Om Namo Shivaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So thank you very much for joining today. Wanting to seek the blessings of Radha Madhav, Radha Shyamsundar Krishna Balaram, Bal Gopal, Nrsimhadev, Bhagwan, Gaurnitai, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, and the assembled devotees. So today we're looking at chapter 8. Is it 8? No, can't be 8. Must be 7.
7, yeah?
Yeah, let me just wait, one minute. Let me just have a look at this. Just make sure. Chapter 8. No, it's the wrong one. Let me just open up chapter 7. Good. So the first 6 chapters represent Gyan Yoga. Oh, no, sorry, Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga. And now we're entering the phase of Bhakti Yoga. From 7 to 12 is all about Bhakti Yoga. And how can we tell it's Bhakti Yoga? Because as soon as the Lord is enters into the picture, it becomes Bhakti Yoga. This is the power of Bhakti Yoga. You just got to remember the Lord, that's all. So let's have a look at an overview of the first 6 chapters. Very short summary. Krishna's main man, Arjun, didn't want to fight because of weakness of heart. He asks Krishna for help in the 2nd chapter. And Krishna reveals his identity, Arjun's identity as a spirit soul. He also identifies his duties and the nature of the person who does the duty. 3rd chapter is all about karma yoga, and Krishna explains how one can do one's duty without attachment to the fruits, as well as setting an example to the world and avoiding sinful activities. Chapter 4 is about Gyan Yoga. And Krishna explains how transcendental knowledge is passed down. He also explains his own mission on earth, the different types of karma, action, and the importance of acquiring knowledge. 5th chapter is Karma Yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. And Krishna further explains Karma Yoga in practice and the effect on the practitioner, making them view everything with the equal vision. Chapter 6, which we did yesterday, is about Gyan Yoga. Gyan Yoga. No, it's it's Astanga Yoga, actually, Astanga Yoga. And it's also called Dhyan Yoga. Krishna explains about the mind, the challenges of Astanga Yoga, how to control the mind, as well as what happens to the unsuccessful yogi. So now we're looking at hang on. Yes, there's another view of this first 6 chapters, which is how it connects us to the Bhagavad Gita. One basic common problem that we all face, including Arjun, is that we have misidentified the soul with the body. So we are thinking we are the body. But actually, it's a misidentification because we're not the body. We are the soul. We are spiritual beings having an human experience. But currently, we are behaving like humans having a spiritual experience. So it's a very big difference between the two. Hence the reason for all of our trials and tribulations. This can be addressed only by reviving our original consciousness, which is God. Okay, which can be re-established by finding our connection with the Lord. So we have to find that original connection again. We have it within us. It's just lost. Hence the reason for various yoga systems. And yoga means to connect with God. So Arjun's problem was whether to act or to renounce. Action means cannot be renounced. Action means we have to do something. It can't be renounced. And if renounced, then no material action. So this is the contradiction. Should he act? Should he renounce? He didn't work. He couldn't work out whether he should fight or should walk away. Of course, Krishna gives him a third option, which is to act with renunciation. So Arjun kept questioning. And that's the third and the fifth chapters until the penny finally drops in the sixth chapter. He realizes, I can actually act without renunciation, with renunciation. So what is the seventh chapter all about? It's the beginning of the middle section of the Gita. Gita has 18 chapters. Seventh chapter is the beginning of the middle section of the Gita, which focuses on Bhakti Yoga. So Karma Yoga, what is that? Essentially, it's where we employ our senses to connect with God. So we act in connection with God, or we act as a matter of duty without worrying about the fruits. Then there's the Astanga Yoga, which we looked at on the sixth chapter, Dhyan Yoga, same thing, is when we connect our mind to God. So Karma Yoga is when we connect our actions to God. Dhyan Yoga is when we connect our mind to God. Gyan Yoga is when we connect our intelligence to God by distinguishing what is truth and illusion. So all of these yogas are connecting different elements of our being to God. Karma Yoga is our body, Astanga Yoga, our mind, Gyan Yoga, our intelligence. But what is Bhakti Yoga? Bhakti Yoga is when we connect everything, sensory, mental, intellectual, emotional, to God, with the intention of developing love for Him. So Bhakti Yoga is basically combines everything together. It's very powerful. Krishna begins to describe himself, where to find him in this material world. Also, how to cross beyond this material world. And the effect of worshipping other beings, like the devatas. What is the effect of that? So the themes of this chapter are, first theme is hearing, the first and most important process of bhakti, hearing attentively about the Supreme Lord. Very important to hear about God through lectures or bhajans. Second theme is Krishna gives a sense of where he is present in the material world. And he explains everything rests in him, just as the string that holds together the pearls in a necklace. So a necklace, pearls, is held very nicely together by the string, but you can't see the string. In the same way, this world is very nicely held together by the Supreme Lord, but you can't necessarily see him so easily. So in this chapter, he gives a hint where he is. He also describes the types of people who approach Krishna and those who don't approach him. And finally, he talks about the worship of devatas, demigods, compared to the worship of the Supreme Lord. So let's make a start. I know Priyanjali, would you like to read? Oh, we may not have her. Maybe some problem there. No problem. Sanvi, would you like to read?
Hello, Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Okay. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Now hear, O son of Parth, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous, This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. One of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth.
Thank you. So, it's a short section, this one, but again, you can read later. Sanvi, thank you. So look at this verse here. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection. And of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. So Krishna is not so easy to know in truth. But in the Bhagavad Gita, he gives a very good idea. So anyway, let's have a look at the theme. Krishna wants us to know him, although it's so difficult that hardly anyone knows him. However, through the practice of bhakti yoga, the Lord says that we can indeed know him in full. How? By hearing about him. Because what's the first thing he says? Now hear, O son of Pratha. How? By practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full. So hearing is so important. And the lesson to learn is engaging in the 9 processes of bhakti yoga will take us closer to Krishna. And the first of the 9 processes is hearing, which is the most important. So let's have a quick look at these 9 processes. What does this mean, 9 processes? Well, these are 9 ways how we can engage in bhakti yoga. We can hear about God. We can chant about God, sing about God, sing bhajans and kirtan. We can remember God. We can serve his lotus feet. We can do worship, deity worship of God. We can pray. We can become servant of God, or we can become a friend of God, or we can completely surrender. These are the 9 processes. In Sanskrit, it's Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevamanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. And there are certain people described in the scriptures who have perfected their lives by simply following one of these. So hearing Maharaj Parikshit, he perfected his life by simply hearing about God. And he actually heard the scripture called the Srimad Bhagavad Puran, which was spoken over 7-day period to him. And the person who spoke that to him was called Sukadev Goswami. So he perfected his life by glorifying the Srimad Bhagavad Puran to Parikshit Maharaj. In terms of remembering, Prahlad Maharaj perfected his life by remembering God in every situation. Lakshmi Devi perfects her life by serving the lotus feet of the Lord. Maharaj Prithu, he perfected his life by doing deity worship. Akrur, he offered wonderful prayers to the Lord, Vandanam. Hanuman was the greatest servant, Dasyam, of the Lord. Arjun, the best friend of the Lord, he perfected his life in that relationship. Bali Maharaj, he surrendered everything to Vamandev. He perfected his life in that way. So these are the 9 processes, and it starts with hearing. Very important. This is just another chart describing exactly what we talked about. Okay. Sanvi, why don't you carry on?
Okay, thank you. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether, these 8 constituent my separated material energies. Besides these, O mighty armed Arjun, there is another superior energy of mine, which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material, inferior nature. All creative beings have their source in these 2 natures. of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world. Know for certain that I am both the origin and the dissolution. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether and ability in man.
Wonderful. You can carry on in a minute. But here, this is where Krishna is starting to impress where he is. And look at this. I am the taste of water. Water tastes so delicious, right? Such a fantastic taste. So when we drink water, we can remember the Lord. And that is going to be one of our lessons today. He is the light of the sun and the moon. He's the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. So these are where we can now find Krishna. Okay, carry on.
I am the original fragrance of the earth, and I am the heat and fire. I am the life of all that lives, and I am the penances of all aesthetics.
Yeah.
Okay. O son of Pert, I know that I am the original seed of all existences, the intelligence of the intelligent, and the prowess of all powerful men. I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am sex life, which is not contrary to religious principles. O Lord of Bharatas, Arjun, know that all states of being, be they of goodness, passion, or ignorance, are manifested by my energy. I am, in one sense, everything, but I am independent. I am not under the modes of material nature, for they, on the contrary, are within me.
Very good. So, summary of verses 4 to 12. In answer to the common challenge, can you show me God? Right? That's a very common statement. I can't see God, so he does not exist. That is going to be an argument by the atheists. Krishna cites the analogy of pearls strung on a thread. The pearls are perfectly strung and arranged as a necklace, while the thread remains completely invisible. So you can't see the thread. So you think, these pearls are just hanging magically. There's nothing holding them together because you can't see the thread. But of course, the thread is there. Similarly, God designs, creates, sustains the entire universe. Yet, because of his humility, he remains invisible to the immature observer. The extreme intricacy and sophistication of the creation, however, naturally indicates the presence of higher intelligence. So I wanted to just show you something. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know if I hope I haven't got rid of it. Sorry, just want something. Oh, I obviously have got rid of it. Anyway, sometimes you will find those who don't believe in God will have the argument that God doesn't exist because I can't see him. So actually, we can't see God, but it doesn't mean that he does not exist. Just like we can't see air, but we know air exists because we are breathing. The symptom of air is life. Similarly, the symptom that God exists is the wonderful order in this creation. Now, actually, let me see if I can find it. This is such an important thing, and I want to see if I can just. I had something, which I just want to share with you. Let me see if I can actually find it. Right. Oops, so let's see. I can't find it now. Anyway, I'll hopefully find it and I'll share it with you. It's the person who coined the Big Bang Theory. His name was Frederick Hoyle. He coined it. He coined that term, Big Bang Theory. He's a scientist, but he almost coined it as if as a joke, a Big Bang Theory. You know, that's it's like a mocking. It was like mocking. That term was a mocking term. Anyway, because he was a scientist, he got vilified in the scientific community. But somehow his name, this term, Big Bang Theory, stuck. So everybody's very keen, the scientific world is very keen that the Big Bang Theory actually explains how the universe came into existence and life came from that Big Bang. Now, of course, we understand that if there is a Big Bang, there's not going to be any order, right? Any simple child, even a 5-year-old, can understand that from an explosion, you're not going to see fantastic order, right? This is such a big illusion created by the scientific world that from a Big Bang has come this fantastic order, but it just does not make any sense at all. So Frederick Hoyle, the person who coined this term, he said the Big Bang, the theory that this world was created out of this Big Bang is the same chances as if a cyclone went through a rubbish tip, right? A cyclone went through a rubbish tip. And after the cyclone passed that rubbish tip, a Boeing 747 aeroplane manifests. Now that's impossible, right? Because a Boeing 747 aeroplane is a very sophisticated piece of engineering. And a cyclone going through a waste yard, a rubbish tip, can never be able to manifest a Boeing 747 just like that. So he said that the chances of Big Bang theory leading to such life on Earth is as good as the chance that a Boeing 747 is created after a cyclone goes to a rubbish tip. So this is he's very accurate because the chances are zero. So this is the scientists themselves. They don't believe it, but they propagate this rubbish because they want to do away with the concept of God. Anyway, Krishna further explains how he is.
Prabhuji, if you don't mind, can you explain this again in a short?
Basically, he's saying that it is impossible from an explosion, Big Bang, that life has begun from that Big Bang with wonderful order in the world. Impossible. But nowadays, in science, they teach this as a fact. There was a Big Bang, and from the Big Bang, life came. And from the Big Bang, this wonderful universe has been created from an explosion. How is that possible? Anyway, Krishna further explains how he is the essence of everything within the creation. The taste of water, the light of the sun, the ability in man. In this way, through the eyes of knowledge, one can learn to see God everywhere. So yes, if we want to see God, it's very possible because Krishna gives us an idea of where he is present even in this world. So lesson 29, every time we drink water, we can say, Raso aham apsu, kaunteya. Raso means taste, aham, Krishna, I, apsu, water. I am the taste in water. So whenever we drink water, I'm just going to have a little sip now. We can just repeat. Raso aham apsu. Kaunteya also is there. Kaunteya means Arjun. I am the taste in water. So every time you drink, and we drink water a lot, we can remember God by remembering that he has said, I am the taste in water. That way, we will be reminded of Krishna doing ordinary activities. And the more we remember Krishna while we're doing ordinary activities, the closer we get to him. That's the point. We want to try to remember him at every step, in every breath. And we can start with small steps to remember him. Okay, let's continue reading. Rohan, would you like to read?
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Deluded by the three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, the whole world does not know me, who am above the modes and inexhaustible. This divine energy of mine, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the ascetic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. O best among the Bharatas, four kinds of pious men begin to render devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desire of wealth, and the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the absolute. Of these, the one who is in full knowledge and who is always engaged in pure devotional service is the best. For I am very dear to him, and he is dear to me.
Wonderful. Just these verses are so amazing. This is one of my favorite verses. Krishna explains this divine energy of his. This world, it is material, but it's still his energy and it's divine. It's very hard to cross over this material world. But if we've surrendered onto him, it's easy to cross beyond it. And then Krishna explains those people who don't approach him, those who do approach him, one who wants wealth, one who's distressed, one who is just wanting to know who is God, who is this, who is everything, and one who is searching for the knowledge of the absolute. So these are really very powerful verses here. Please carry on.
All these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls, but he who is situated in knowledge of me, I consider to be just like my own self. Be engaged in my transcendental service, he is sure to attain me, the highest and most perfect goal. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes, and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Another classic verse here. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes. And that person is very, very rare. So, verses 13 to 19. If God can be perceived everywhere, and his existence is so strikingly obvious, why is there still wholesale denial of him, right? So why are there so many people who don't believe in God? Well, Krishna endows each individual soul with the free will to fly their own plane. So we have free will. Krishna is not going to force us to do anything. So he describes the four types of people who reject God due to their preoccupation in worldly life. Either they're grossly foolish, lowest of mankind, they're in illusion, or they have an atheistic nature. These are the four types of people who avoid God. But then there are four types of people who accept God, albeit with different degrees of selfish intent. Some people want wealth. Some people are distressed. They will approach God. Some people just want to know about everything, including God. And some who seek the truth, seek knowledge. And you know, the Lord, he explains that all these four types of people, they're magnanimous. He calls them magnanimous. He calls them udharan, magnanimous souls, great souls. Even though they want something, at least they have approached him. He's happy, they've approached him. So they're counted as magnanimous souls. It is a rare soul in this world who is able to approach God free of ulterior motives and enter into a selfless relationship of love. It's a very rare soul. That level of spiritual purity, Krishna says, may take thousands of births. So it's not easy to become selfless and approach God in that mood, that I just want to serve you, my dear Lord. Anyway, lesson to learn. Human life is very rare to achieve. We should understand this human form of life. It's very, very rare to get to get this form. There's 8.4 million species of lives. A lot of them animal, grass, fish, aquatics, and about 20,000 different species of human beings. So we are very lucky that we've got this human form of life. So let's be very grateful that the Lord has allowed us to perform some level of bhakti and make the most of our great fortune. So we are extremely lucky. Thus, we must treasure and protect this great fortune. And we must avoid committing offenses, especially the mad elephant offense of blaspheming devotees. There's something called the Bhakti Lata Bij. So this is a plant. This is the plant of bhakti. And I'll just very quickly take you through this plant because it's such an important topic. This we've spent days lecturing on this, but I'll just give you a 1 minute summary. Once the seed of bhakti is planted within our heart, it awakens our faith in God. That faith is increased by keeping company of sadhus, devotees. That will take us to the next stage where we do bhajana kriya. When we meet the sadhus, we do bhajan, we do kirtan, we talk about God. And then from that level, this plant is watered, nourished very nicely. And we come to the stage where we get rid of all of our bad habits. Anartha nivritti. Any bad habits we have, we get rid of those bad habits. And then eventually, it will take us to the stage of nishtha, where we are really fixed, that we understand God. We have no doubt about God. And we're fixed in our resolution to awaken our consciousness to align with God. That will take us to ruchi, where we develop a taste for bhajan. We enjoy bhajan. It's not a chore to go to the temple. It's a pleasure. It's actually something we look forward to. And that will take us to ashakti, which is where we have great attachment for Krishna. From attachment to Krishna comes bhav, where we have a natural love for Krishna, a natural emotional love, connection with Krishna, which will ultimately fructify in the flower called prema bhakti, which is the highest form of love for Krishna. So this is a really very important plant, blossoming of the Bhakti Lata Bij. And this is from Madhurya Kadambini by a very important guru, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He explains all of this in a lot of detail. How we can improve our bhakti, look after it, because there's so many weeds as well. If we're not careful, when we're planting this beautiful bhakti, some weeds can come. We have to separate the weeds, get rid of the weeds, so that we make sure this plant of bhakti grows all the time. And it fructifies into something magnificent. Okay, Devina, would you? Yes. Funny enough, I just remembered you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. I am in everyone's heart as the supersoul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. Endowed with such a faith, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtains his desires. But in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go for the planet of the demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet.
Very good. Just carry on. I'll just say a few things. This is a really powerful verse. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods. So this is where we got to be a little careful. Who is the goal of our worship? Because if we're worshiping the demigods, we should understand that their fruits are limited and temporary. It's not that we insult the demigods. We give them full respect. But our worship is exclusively for the Supreme Lord. Please carry on.
Unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality due to their small knowledge. They do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. I am never manifest to the foolish and intelligent. For them I am covered by my internal potency. And therefore they do not know that I am unborn and infallible. O Arjun, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all things that are yet to come. I also know all living entities, but me no one knows. O Scion of Bharat, O conqueror of the foe, all living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities arisen from desire and hate. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are freed from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. Intelligent persons who are endeavoring for liberation from old age and death take refuge in me in devotional service. They are actually Brahman because they entirely know everything about transcendental activities. Those in full consciousness of me, who know me, the Supreme Lord, to be governing principle of the material manifestation of the demigods and of all methods of sacrifice, can understand and know me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even at the time of death.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for reading so nicely. End of chapter 7, Paramhamsa Vigyan Yoga. So, summary of these 11 verses. Krishna establishes monotheism and distinguishes demigods as powerful entities in charge of universal affairs, who are in no way, shape, or form equal to God. The demigods are, it's a position, like Indra is the king of heaven. It's a position. Just like the prime minister is a position. Anybody who is a citizen of the UK, for example, can become a prime minister if he's voted in by the people, right? So in a similar way, anybody can take the position of Indra, king of heaven, if God promotes him to that position. So the demigods are, generally speaking, ordinary living entities. However, they are pious They are great devotees of God, and they're helping God run the universe. So they have special powers, but those powers have been given to them by God. So it's important to understand that. They themselves are not independent of the Supreme Lord. Their powers come from God. So, who are these demigods? Surya Dev would be a demigod. Indra. Lord Shiva is also considered Mahadev, head of the demigods. Lord Shiva, however, is a little different category, because when God wants to touch this world, he becomes Shiva. So Shiva, his power is similar to that of God's. However, he is not able to liberate one from this world. So if somebody is a great devotee of Shiva and they do not have an ulterior motive to worship Shiva, i.e., they don't want money from Shiva or something, some material gain. They just they love Shiva. To that devotee, Shiva will come at the end of his life and chant the name of Ram into their ears. And that devotee will go to Ram. This is the beauty of Lord Shiva. But if somebody wants money, then that devotee will get money. Shiva is very kind-hearted. Whatever you want, he'll give it. So, actually, Sanatana Dharma, we've talked about this very briefly before, is multifaceted. And the system of worship can be regarded as, I don't know if you remember this is a little complicated, multi-layered, polymorphic by monotheism. Multi-layered means there are many devatas who can be worshipped for temporary gains. But this is not recommended by Krishna. Krishna says men of small intelligence will worship the devatas because their fruits are temporary and limited. We saw that in verse 23 of this chapter. But multi-layered basically means there are devatas who one can worship if one wants to. Polymorphic means Krishna has many expansions like Vishnu, Rama, Nrsimha, so many expansions, avatars, incarnations, unlimited forms. So that's polymorphic. Polymorphic means same expansions of the same. Expansions of the same. So they're expansions of Krishna. By monotheism, what does that mean? Well, it means God as a divine couple. But monotheism means one God. By monotheism means Radha Krishna, divine couple. One supreme manifested in two forms by monotheism. So this is a much more accurate description of Sanatana Dharma. Otherwise, I just say this one, monotheism, one God. But if you really want to explain Sanatana Dharma fully, then this is a good term to use because it includes all the different facets of Sanatana Dharma. But it's a little complicated. People won't necessarily understand it. Anyway, what's the lesson to take? Our worship is exclusively meant for Krishna or his expansions, different Vishnu avatars, Ram, Narayan, right? The demigods, devatas, are his servants, whom we must respect, but no need to worship. The worship is exclusively for the Supreme Lord. So this is text 23. Results of worshipping. If we're worshipping the demigods, the benefits are perishable. And the demigods are within this material world. So if one worships the demigods, one can go to the planets of the demigods, but that's still in this world. We're not going to be transported outside of this world back to the spiritual world. If we worship the Supreme Lord, benefit is eternal, and it will lead us to the Supreme Lord in the spiritual world. Demigods are part and parcel of God. We are also part and parcel of God. So we need to understand that. This all we will cover in another session, in a different chapter. The different classes of men or women, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Okay. Now, this is demigod worshippers. What is their nature? They follow the Karma Kanda section. With Karma Kanda section is basically where you do a yajna or sacrifice to the demigod and you want something back in return. It's a business transaction. The nature of those who worship the demigods, they want money and they want it quickly. Their philosophy is that they believe that one who worships a demigod can reach the Supreme Lord. That can't happen. If you want to go to the center of London, but you go in the opposite direction, you're not going to reach the center of London, right? Accept demigods as equal to Krishna. There are many gods. That's one of the arguments. All gods are one, there are many gods. We have to be careful. There are many lordships, yes, expansions of Krishna or Vishnu. But it doesn't mean the demigods are equal to Krishna. They're not. Their demigods are just like us, you and me. And we can become a demigod in future life if we want to, if we are so inclined. But what's the point? A particular demigod is supreme instead of Krishna. No. This world is meant for enjoyment. Again, not a good place to be. And the goal is dharma, artha, and kama. Mentality and attitude. I am the enjoyer. We desire superior enjoyment in higher planets. A lot of false prestige. Intelligence is lost due to lusty desires. How do they act? Those who worship the demigods. They perform prescribed duties, which is good. But they worship the demigods and they perform sacrifice. What is the result? They achieve higher planetary systems. And they enjoy only until the pious results are exhausted. As soon as a good karma background is finished, they return back to earth again to continue with karma. So I wanted to stop there. Interesting chapter. Any questions, any comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Praveen.
I think God is telling us that I'm everywhere,
Yes.
like in earth, water,
Yeah.
fire, sky, in your mind, your ego.
Maybe not that big, but
Yeah,
definitely
ahankar.
water,
There's
air.
it
Yeah.
says ahankar and it says man.
Yeah.
And then here it's the other one. It says the one you said about the mala. He's in the beads, but you can't see the mala. No, you can't see the.
Yeah.
You
He
can't
is
see the
pearl.
thread,
Yeah. He's the thread. That's right. He's the thread.
and you can't see it, but he's in the mala,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that is making us all like together. And then he said something about like he's in the test, Chandra, Surya, Prakash. Is it
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And Omkar,
Yeah. That's right. He's the old.
and the words we use, Sabda. And in Purush Tattva, So he is in mankind. Is that right or no?
Yeah, he is, you could say, because he expands as Paramatma. So that's correct.
So that means, I mean, it was very interesting. It's the same thing, the one you read in English. And the same thing I've got in front of us in Gujarati.
Good,
So
good.
you're understanding more, you know.
Yeah.
Thank
good.
you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Anything else? Anybody else? Rohan, any questions from your side?
Hi, yeah, just I've got a question about the difference between I think it's tattva and avatar and demigods, because I think it's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda, they're both tattva, but is that the
Vishnu
same as?
Tattva.
So what's the difference between tattva and avatar?
Oh, okay, got it. So, avatar is an expansion of God. Is avatar is one who descends to earth, and generally an avatar will be an expansion of Krishna. Examples are Mach, the fish avatar; Kach, the tortoise avatar; Mach Kach Varaha, the boar avatar; Nrsimha, half man, half lion avatar. These are all expansions of Krishna who have descended into earth. Yeah.
Okay.
Tattva means truth. And actually, Vishnu Tattva is what we regard as being the Supreme Lord, Vishnu Tattva. So these avatars are also Vishnu Tattva. The position of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda is that they are not actually avatar. They actually, see, the position of Krishna is he's not an avatar. According to the Srimad Bhagavad Puran, the Bhagavad Gita, and also the Brahma Samhita, Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is known as Avatari, the source of the avatars. So, although you could argue there's no difference between Krishna and Rama, or Nrsimha, or Vishnu, or Narayan. Yes, they're all supreme. One Lord, many forms. But the original form, just like if you have many candles, there was the first candle lit all the other candles. So the first candle is regarded to be Krishna, who lit all the other candles. From Krishna come all the different avatars. The position of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is he's also not an avatar, because he is Radha and Krishna combined. So his position, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is the same as Krishna's. Same as Krishna's. He's like the avatari. He's the source of all of the avatars. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he's a combination of Radha and Krishna, is actually the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's not an avatar. He's, of course, Vishnu Tattva, because Vishnu Tattva means he's God.
Okay, that's why Prabhuji we call Avatari Purush sometimes.
Yeah.
And the whole avatar is originally God, actually they're coming on the earth. When that time we said that the avatar. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like another comes in earth, they're born from Yoni, from other, how can I explain? And they're Avatari Purush, not the avatar.
Yeah, they descend themselves. They're not born, but they descend. Yeah, that's right. They are not.
So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not avatar, but Avatari Purush. That's correct? Yeah,
correct.
And that's the tattva. That's where you said tattva.
Tattva, but they're all tattva anyway. As long as they're an expansion of Vishnu, they're all Vishnu tattva. They're all Vishnu Tattva. We are Jiva
So
Tattva.
actually, we are all Vishnu.
No, we are
Tattva.
not. We are Jiva Tattva.
Jiva Tattva.
Yeah, that's right, Jiva Tattva.
But Jiva Tattva is ounce of a God, isn't it?
It's a spark.
Small ounce of a God. Yeah.
Spark.
So. Yeah.
But we don't have the same power as God.
No.
God is huge like the fire. We are like the little spark.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Good. No, that's good. Does that make sense, Rohan?
Yes.
Does that answer the question? Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I got a bit confused, but I think I can sort of understand.
Yeah.
I've got one other question. So why do we? I know that we worship Tulsi Maharani or Vrinda Devi, but aren't they incarnations of Lakshmi? So isn't that not Vishnu Tattva?
Yeah.
So wouldn't that be a demigod worship?
No, they're not demigods. They are the internal potency of the Lord. And basically, there's Radha and Krishna, right? Krishna is the Vishnu Tattva, the Supreme Lord. But he has an internal potency which expands as Radharani. And that internal potency is pretty much the same as the Supreme Lord. So worshipping Radha or Lakshmi, but not separate from Krishna, Radha Krishna, Lakshmi Narayan, is essential because the internal potency of the Lord is more kinder than the Lord himself. And Tulsi, she's like also an expansion of Radharani, but she has a very special role. And her role is that she's in charge of who comes near Radha and Krishna. Tulsi Maharani is somebody we take shelter of. She's not a demigoddess. She's a devotee of God. And to worship devotees of God is equal to worshiping God himself, if not higher. So worshiping demigods is on a level of worshiping on a business level. I do something for you, you do something for me. But worshiping these devotees who are on the platform of serving Radha Krishna themselves, you are actually worshipping them to gain access to Radha and Krishna. So Tulsi Maharani, for example, would be worshipped. We do her worship every day because we want access to Radha and Krishna. It's not like worshipping the demigods, because we're not saying to Tulsi Maharani, give me money, I'll worship you. We're saying to Tulsi Maharani, I want to worship you. Please give me a residence in Vrindavan. How's that prayer go? Namo Nama Tulasi Krishna Prayasinu Radha Krishna Seva Pao E Abhilasi Ye Tumara Sharan Lai Tare Vancha Puna Kripa Kori Koro Tare Vrindavan Vasi. Make me a resident of Vrindavan. I can serve Radha and Krishna. With the demigods, the difference is we'll be worshipping them for material gains. Now, if somebody is worshipping devatas, but not for material gain, they're worshipping the devatas to gain access to Vishnu or Krishna. That's good. That's good. That is acceptable.
So you can worship, for instance, I worship Mataji as well as Radha and Krishna.
Yes, you can.
But I don't ask for anything. I do it as well as Radha Krishna. Is that wrong? Or...
No, it's not wrong. But what you can do, see, the gopis, they worship Katyani Mataji, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And why did they worship? Please make Krishna my husband. That's good. That's good. We take shelter of these great personalities. We take their shelter and we beg them, please help me in this direction. Good, Rohan.
So what type of so what is Shakti then? Because isn't that also So Mataji, Shakti, where does that fit in within?
Ultimately, that's Radharani. She is the ultimate Shakti. And her expansions are Parvati, Saraswati, Durga Mata.
So all the Devis.
Shakti. Yeah, that's right. They're all Shakti. But most worshippers of Durga Mata, for example, they worship Durga Mata to gain material wealth. And that's fine as far as it goes, but it is very limited because the worship of demigods will only give limited fruits. Like Krishna says, people who are small intelligence, they worship the demigods because the small intelligence is there because the fruits are temporary. And one goes to the planets of the demigods, which is still in this world. That's why.
So if you're worshipping the devatas, not for the sake of gaining material purposes, but just for the sake of doing seva, is that still wrong? Or
yeah, it's still not connecting you to the Supreme because you're still going to go to the planets of the demigods, which is still in this world. But if you're saying to the demigod, help me get closer to Vishnu, Narayan, Ram, Krishna, then we're closer. That's that.
So what about Yogamaya?
Same. Yes,
Mataji.
same.
Mataji. Yes.
Same. You can worship Mataji, but not in her own capacity.
You know, once I had a question. Have you ever read Bhagavad Gita? Not Bhagavad Gita, but what name was Mataji's? But Devi Bhagavad. And they said in Devi Bhagavad, I haven't finished it all because it's very big volume, but they said Yogamaya is a supreme. Is always like a Lakshmi, because Vishnu needs Lakshmi. So Yogamaya Shakti is a one of Vishnu, like a one of Vishnu's helper. You know, Vishnu.
Yeah. Helper, yes, you could say that. You could say
like
expansion.
Yeah. So it's very hard to explain and understand, but I try to.
Yogamaya. Again, if one worships Yogamaya just to get material wealth, then the path is a wrong path. It's not the right path according to Bhagavad Gita. But if one worships Yogamaya to get closer to Radha Krishna,
Yeah.
Perfect. That's good.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Rohan, does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So you don't have to stop. It's just you if you just add Krishna to the prayer within Mataji's, that, my dear Mataji, I have great respect for you. I have great love for you. And I know you have great love for Radha and Krishna because you are a great devotee. Please help me get that connection as well. Then it's very acceptable. Very acceptable. And she will have. She's very kind. She's very gentle. She's very generous,
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Any other questions? Any other comments? Otherwise, we can stop and we can chant one round. Okay, let me just find the prayer. And I was today thinking that we could chant this round and try to focus our mind like we were talking about yesterday. If the mind goes somewhere, you bring it back to the sound again. Let's try for 6 minutes odd. One round. And I'll keep recording so that we try to chant nicely.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Do we leave our speaker on or not?
Yeah, it's good. If you can, it'd be good. Everybody can unmute.
But what about if we are not going with everybody? Some
It's okay.
people going
You just
fast,
do it
some
gently.
people.
Just do it not too loud.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Jai Shri Krishna. Chaitanya
Jai
Prabhu.
Shri Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare, Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram, Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Ram, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare
Ram, Hare
Ram,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna, Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna, Krishna, Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare
Ram,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Ram,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Ram,
in the Ram, Ram, Ram,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram, Hare Ram,
Ram, Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Ram, Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna,
Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Ram Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna, Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna, Ram Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Ram Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna,
Ram
Hare
Ram,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Ram,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Krishna,
Ram Ram,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare
Ram
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you so much. I hope that was okay. So actually, Priyanjali has two questions. We didn't look at those. Is there a place where we can see God? Yes. We can taste him in water. We can see him in the deity form. When we go to the temple, he's there. He's present. He's the deity. So you can see him many places. And we'll see as we're progressing through the Gita, he will tell us in many, many different places where he is. Is Tulsi Maharani Vishnu Tattva? No. She is not Vishnu Tattva. She is special Tattva. She is Radharani's Tattva, which is internal potency, Shakti. Very powerful. Very, very powerful. Some would argue more powerful than God himself. But actually very powerful.
Okay, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, all the devotees.
Thank you, everybody. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. See you tomorrow.
Thank you for today's lesson.
Jai
See you
Bol
tomorrow.
Bhagwan
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.